So in this video, I interview Brandy. She's going to share with you exactly how she sold 16 policies this week in 5 days, how she was a failing life insurance agent before, how she's been rescued, and more importantly, share with you all the sales tactics and tips that she's learned that helps her sell consistently 10 to 15 policies every week with us here. Ultimately, she's going to share with you a few very important lessons that she's learned that has completely changed her life. She's going to share with you exactly how, quote unquote, on the last 2 weeks, I've made more money than I ever had in this insurance industry with you guys. And ultimately, how not only has her bank account changed, but ultimately her ability to sell and help people sell final expense has completely changed her life. I want to share with you guys exactly who she is, how she's got into this industry, her previous experiences, her previous failures in this industry, and ultimately how she is one of the best insurance agents, I believe, in this industry right now. She's going to share with you everything that you need to know about finding a leader, everything that you need to know about finding an opportunity, and ultimately share with you her ability to sell and what she's learned about how to sell, giving you real tactic and advice to help you make more money in this industry and become a better sales individual. We want to give this all for you for free, and make sure you go ahead and wait till the end. She shares with you a really, really important story and a gem of how her bank account has changed and the one thing that she did to change the bank account and ultimately provide a better life for her family, her husband, and for her kids. I hope you guys enjoy this. Leave a comment and go ahead. This is Brandy's story.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on here. I started in the Medicare field about a year ago, and I loved it. I love selling Medicare. I love working with the senior community, and the pay at my job was pretty decent. There wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for growth. I remember I talked to somebody who'd been working there 6 years and 10 years, and they were making the same amount that I was. And so I didn't see myself staying in that route. And also, I didn't have a whole lot of fulfillment there. And then ultimately, I started there because I did want to go into life insurance. That was like the main goal the whole time. And then I connected with, there was a guy, he was a Christian there. I was a Christian. We connected. And he also wanted to go into life insurance. So he told me about a company that he was going to start at. And so then later I ended up starting at that same company, and I was still working full time. And so it was, it was a lot. I was working again, that full time job. And then usually like 2 hours after work, I would work on Saturdays, have a husband and two kids. And so he wasn't super on board with that. And I wasn't seeing a whole lot of results. And then by the grace
Yeah.
of God, I found you.
In regards to your experience at that, like you're at like a 3-letter IMO. I don't want to like, I guess, shout them out, but what was it like there? Like, was it like, do you feel like you had the opportunity to become successful or there's not much training? Like how did you go from, I don't know, how many policies did you sell at your previous company?
I honestly don't know if it was 5 or 6,
Yeah.
maybe over like a 3 month span that entire time. And I can't talk too much on that because I feel like I wasn't there long enough
Yeah.
to really say anything. But what I know is my husband did not really understand how the life insurance industry worked. He was not on board with it at all. And it was really hard for me to kind of balance my my work and home life. And so when we would have issues when it came to working this second job where I wasn't seeing a
Mhm.
whole lot of fruit come from that, he would not be real happy, and that would kind of carry over into what I was doing. And it kind of at times felt like I was more than a number because I just felt like no matter how hard I was working, it wasn't enough.
Wasn't
Um, mhm. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
and I
was.
appreciate you sharing that. There's a lot of people here that are currently in the same situation, or you've kind of got the good end of the stick. You didn't really go into it too long, where you start to see some of the negative effects. People on the channel and people are going to hear your story like that have like lost their houses and like gone through divorces. It gets kind of crazy of what the industry is, and um, I'm so excited to help you share your story. And then you went from kind of just, I guess, what had you reaching out? I'm going to share with you, like you this week you've sold 16 policies in a week. I think that's more than you probably ever sold final expense. So like, what even had you looking around for like a new opportunity, and why did you want to be in the insurance industry?
So, as far as why I wanted to be in it, it's I feel like it kind of found me. I can't remember. I never knew what I wanted to do as a kid. You know,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
guess anybody thought I want to be a life insurance agent when I grow up, but it's something I honestly feel like God just put on my heart and was leading me in that direction. And then ultimately, when I was in that position, I was at the point of about giving up, at least for now, just because I couldn't afford to have an abundant flow of leads. The systems, I didn't know what I was doing. And so, what kind of, when I came across your YouTube videos, I had been watching them since I started. And that was like the best training I think I received. And then after that, I think like the compensation structure, something that allowed me to be able to not have to worry about, again, finding the next lead or being desperate with the leads that I did have that were low quality or chargebacks waiting to happen. And really the compensation structure and knowing that I was going to be getting the training and resources where I could afford to be able to go all in and not end up in my car on the street somewhere.
Yeah. And knowing what you know now from where you've previously been and currently where you're at and kind of what you're experiencing with us, like what would you say is needed for someone who could be struggling right now? What are some things that you've seen that they need to become successful in this industry? Is it like a certain amount of lead flow? Is it like what do you think has allowed you to become successful that maybe people don't realize they don't have right now that is not making them successful?
So to me, that's a lot of different factors, honestly. I think there are a lot of people that, have good intentions. They want to do the industry the right way, but I think they don't know how. The fact that with you guys, there is, for one, a ridiculously harmonious work environment. And then what you and Micah do with your training and the systems, like there's an infallible system. Like I'm doomed for success as long as I put the work in. But I would say if you can find some leadership that you can emulate, leadership that knows what they're talking about, that has a system in place that can provide, I mean, in-depth training that sees you more as a number and more as a person, and putting the client's needs first, really working with integrity. Like ultimately, we're here to serve, and that's what I really think is going to get you far. Is if you are doing the right thing, if you're doing business the right way, that's what's going to keep your clients on the books. It's going to help you really put them in the best position. And trying to think of.
Yeah, just helping the people, and I think that's what a lot of people's intentions are. And I remember when I got off the phone with you, I was like, man, she's just like, when I first spoke to you, I was like, she's so sweet, she's gonna do amazing here. But a lot of people just didn't have the right opportunity for you. And in regards to like what you've seen from when you first started and like now, I don't know if you want to dive into it, but like a lot of people just are promised that they can make all this money and like they don't, and people are losing money. Like the opportunity that you have now, like has it been an opportunity where you can provide for your family? Like has it been fruitful for you? Like do you feel like you are in a position where you are like rewarded for your hard work? And um, how do you feel about everything that we have built there for you?
So I don't know how y'all do it, honestly. You guys do so much, and anybody, if anybody can find leadership similar, I mean, that's just really, I feel like, what the main thing is. But for one, I don't feel like a number at all. Like my husband in the beginning was not on board, again, because he just, he didn't know, he doesn't know what to think. He's
Yeah.
protective. And now, and that kind of came through, and you guys, like, you asked me, like, are you okay? What's going on? How can we help? Like, he saw me as a human being. And now he is so much more than supportive. He's so happy about this opportunity. And part of the reason for that also is because he has seen my bank account change. Like he has literally in 2 weeks, I made much more than I would have made at a month at my other full-time job. And that's fixing to turn into happening on a weekly basis, even more than 2 weeks, which is just absolutely insane. But yeah, definitely
Yeah.
the work is being rewarded.
Yeah, we appreciate your hard work, and I think that's the ultimate goal. Everyone, you probably got into it to have a better life and to have a better opportunity, and that's what we're here to provide. And I guess speak on some of your sales like what have you learned along the sales industry? Because there's probably people that are struggling, like how the heck this lady come in here and sell 16 policies. Like, what are some things that you've learned that could be helpful for someone who's like maybe was in your position, maybe a few months ago when you like were just learning final expense or selling it? Like, what are some things that you've learned and that can educate people on how to become good at selling life insurance?
So a few things. I'll say, for me personally, God first and then hard work. But aside from that, if you don't know what you're doing, like me, like I literally had no idea, what to do with anything, just kind of a blank slate. Put the numbers in your favor for sure, because statistically, with the law of numbers, you will see success. And again, you're going to have to work a whole lot harder at first. Like in the beginning, I was making like 300 dials a day pretty consistently to get like one sale. But I just knew if I could put the numbers in my favor, it was bound to happen. And then after that, just really focusing on the sales skills. I feel like some things that your last video, I think it was the last one that you posted, talking about the magic wand of value. So I think finding first and foremost, again, integrity and serving the clients, putting them first. And then from there, just truly finding what the value is, whether it be the pain or the price, just figuring out what the value is, stressing on that, and then active listening, letting them talk. And then, hold on, there was something else I had here. Well, just for people starting out, I feel like one of the most important things, at least from my experience, is your disposition, because it's hard. It's a lot of hard work, especially at first. And so if you understand that any no that you get is going to be in your favor, just have a good disposition on that. Like if you don't give up, the success will come. And then I'm trying to think of what else. Finding the value. Oh yeah, and learning how to just ask questions the right way to where you can get the responses that you need to move forward. The magic wand of value.
You feel like you've like broke through now? Like there was a lot of like every day you just kind of like stacked a new skill, and overall, like I try to explain to people, like it's kind of like once you kind of learn the basics, it's kind of like the same process over and over and over. It's just different situations like income or like medical conditions, but are you at a position now, like with the training, what you learned, like you feel like you could help anyone? Is that like kind of how you're feeling? And what do you think really helped shorten your learning curve? Like what got you there fast? I know you outwork everyone. You are putting in the long hours. I think that's the biggest factor. But do you feel like you were naturally good with people before you got started, or was that more of like something that you developed?
So I definitely just concern and empathy, like genuine care for the people. That is something that I've had for a long time, especially with the senior community. But that was there. I think that just comes from like your own morals and values. Tonality. I have been working on the phones for a while, so I don't know if that's where that came from. But really the one-on-one training, that it's just so helpful, like the time that you pour into us and make sure that we are set up before you look at bringing on anybody else. That's huge. And just as far as other sales advice, like again, finding the value, the time kills deals. And yes, I feel like I could sell anybody. Like I'm on a trip right now, and on the way here I was like talking to my husband about something, and I was like, I wonder if I can word something in a way to where he will give me the answer I need. But yeah, it's become a lot simpler. I know how to help people, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny, like sales is like it's in the DNA. Like you ask questions. It is, we talk about it as like a active persuasion. It could be good and bad, but unfortunately a lot of people use it for both. But in regards to overall, like in the industry, now that you kind of see what is out there, the people that you are serving, do you actually feel like it's a rewarding opportunity? Like do you actually, like, you can kind of see both sides. You can see like there's, how would I say, there's agents out there you're running into who are like kind of screwing people over, and now like kind of what you're doing is you're kind of trying to save them. Do you feel like what you're doing is helping people and really rewarding for you?
I've never had so much fulfillment in a position before. That's a huge reason why I'm happy here, why I wake up every day excited, and really just the heart of service. Like when you are really serving people, when you're really putting them in the best position, it's not just about, making a quick buck. There's so much fulfillment in truly being able to help people. And again, ultimately, if you help these people the right way, they're going to stick around. It's just a win-win situation. So yeah, definitely work with integrity. That's the best advice I can give, and find good leadership.
Yeah, I think that is the most important, especially as like you grow into a leader. It's, at your previous experience, did you have anybody? Did you have anybody to go to? Like, what were some what were some red flags that you experienced at the old company that you're like, okay, this is not adding up? Like, what were some things that you were going through that like didn't make sense, were not clicking, that were like, okay, maybe I should look for something different?
So again, I wasn't seeing a whole lot of, I couldn't afford the abundant lead flow. Like I didn't have enough people to call, but again, I can't talk too much about that. I feel like just because I didn't have enough experience there, but I know with my schedule, I feel like I was kind of a different situation just because I did work full time. So the hours that I did have left over, usually there was nobody really there to kind of help have me figure out what to do. Not really any like call reviews like you do. That's super helpful. Just the constant tweaks like here and there to, make super agents.
But yeah, you don't have much experience. What is like the one thing we'll end with this? Like, what is the one thing that you've learned about yourself that has kind of surprised you about you through this process? Like something that you're really proud of that you've kind of learned about yourself.
That I can develop a sales skill, and it doesn't matter what the situation is going to be. Like I don't need to lay down to make a sale. I don't need to put the numbers in my favor anymore. I mean, I still do, but I don't need to, put in 300 dials, because if I get one person on the phone, as long as I do what I've been trained on how to do, like this, like you said before, to me, this skill can't be taken from me now. And I can help people. So if somebody answers, I'm going to help them. And that's really crazy because it gets worse every day. And it was not like that at first.
It's almost like, do you still have that feeling? Because I still have it as like a salesman. Do you feel like, because you always are plugged in and working hard, which I praise there. Do you have that feeling where like, oh man, am I going to be able to do this again? I think that was one of my biggest fear that I had to get over. And I don't think I'll ever get over. It's like, do you still feel that way? And does that kind of drive you a bit?
It does. Like I don't think of it as a bad thing, because I do feel that way. I'm already like, I'm gonna hit 17 this week, and so I'm like, can I do that next week though? And I think I'm like, no, that was not a fluke. There's no way that's a fluke. Like it's getting easier and easier, and I feel like it does push me though. Like I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna make it happen, make sure it does happen.
Yeah, and it's a matter of just doing what you've done last week. Our mind can trick on us, but yeah, everything will stay the same. But Brandy, I'm just going to keep it brief. But thanks for just jumping on here. I really do appreciate you, and I think a lot of people can look up to you who are kind of lost. I think about you. There's like, if you didn't get into this industry, like maybe you'd have been doing something else. But like you, there are so many great people like you that have really great hearts of service that don't know where to end up or don't know where to go and don't know how to use that skill, and are working at like a job like doing construction or something where they could be really serving and helping people. And that's my biggest fear, is like people don't really know what's out there because they've had a bad experience. And I appreciate you believing in us, and I'm really excited to see you grow and help you really win here. So thanks for joining us here today.
Well, it's all your fault, and thank you for having me on. But yeah, this opportunity for anybody out there. I mean, if you want fulfillment and you want to see your bank account change, like it's completely possible. You just have to find the right leadership, the right system, and again, just act with the heart of service.
Yeah, and you got to be coachable. One thing about you and anybody out there is like, oh, I can make the phone calls or I can do exactly what she's doing. But if you're not willing to take the advice, I'll give feedback for everyone. Like, what made you successful, Brandy, is that you like always wanted to learn from the beginning. Like, you took action, you signed up, like you got started immediately. You texted me immediately. You were asking about the course immediately. When you saw there's a problem, you asked me about it. Like you were taking the initiative. I think that's what makes winners. Is like I knew that you believed in yourself. You just need the right bucket, and once I gave that to you, I knew you'd be fine. But a lot of people want all these things, but they're not willing to do the hard work, like actually invest the time. Like you're always the last one off the phone, typically, like in the first 30, 40 days, you were the first, always doing that. And you've earned it. And it's really not much I can say I've done, but it's ultimately everything that you've done and built yourself, because I could tell the minute that you got started, you weren't going to let yourself fail. And that's exactly what happened. And you should be really proud of yourself.
Well, real quick on that note, I just want to say it's your fault though,
Yeah.
because I knew that you weren't going to let me fail. I was telling my granddad yesterday, I was like, when my boss says constructive criticism, like I get excited. I don't get nervous. I'm not like, oh, is he about to yell at me? Like you're edifying, you lift me up, and it makes me want to do my best and do what I can to make you look good.
Yeah, you're awesome. And I'm so grateful that, you're able to have this experience and say good things, because, ultimately we want to make this the realest opportunity out there for people. And I appreciate you just sharing that. And ultimately, I'm sure your family's proud of you. I'm sure you're very proud of yourself. And it's just, I've always believed in you. I think I'm going to, I knew that you had it, and we were just getting started. So I'm excited to see where you go. And I'll let you run here because I know you want to hit your 17th policy. But thanks for joining. I think a lot of people really just, who are like frustrated in this industry, could watch this and really just have some context of what's out there. And, we don't even want them to work with us. We're not here to promote our company, but just want you guys to know that there are a resource that you need to look out for, whether it's a leader, if it's a company, or a lead source. There's different resources. Just making sure that you find the right one is important that can help you have success. So thanks, Brandy.
Well, thanks for having me.